So, hello. Today I want to talk about the runes. What are the runes? The runes are ancient magic symbols. And the word rune, comes from the German word raunen. And raunen means to whisper and to murmur. And runes are magic symbols, and they make up the Futork. The Futork is basically the runic alphabet. And there are three different types of Futorks. There's a 12-symbol Futork, an 18-symbol Futork, and a 24-symbol Futork. And the 24-symbol Futork, later on they added another rune, so that's actually then the 25-symbol Futork. And these runes would be carved into stone or wood. And witches or sorceresses, they would also throw wooden twigs on the ground and then look at the symbols read your destiny from it. And there's also a very interesting connection about the runes. I said they would carve them into stone, but it was more common to carve them into wood, because wood is softer. And they preferred a special kind of wood. They preferred the wood of the beech tree. And the beech tree in German is Buche. So they would use the twigs of the beech tree, and they would carve their symbols into the wood of the beech tree. And the German word for letter is Buchstabe, and in that you have the Buche, the beech tree, and Stab, which is stave or twig. So a wooden twig is also a stave. And the German word for book is Buch, and in Buch you also have the Buche. So there's a connection, and that's no coincidence. So what this means, the letters we are using, they're not Latin. We're writing with the magic symbols of the old Norse people. We're writing with the runes, and nobody knows this, because we're not supposed to know it. But it's right there in the word, so it's quite obvious. Yes. How did these runes come into the world? How were they discovered? They were discovered by Odin, and now I will read to you 6 stanzas out of the Hávamál. And the Hávamál is the longest poem of the Edda, of the Eddic poetry. And Hávamál means the words of the High One. And these stanzas, there are stanzas 138, because it's very long, it has like over 180 stanzas or something. So I will read those that refer to the runes. Here it goes. I knew that I hung on a wind-swept tree for 9 long nights, wounded by despair and given to Odin, myself a sacrifice to myself, on that tree of which no man knows from what root it rises. They gave me no bread nor drinking horn. I looked down, I drew up the runes, wailing I took them up and fell back from there. Mighty spells I got from the famous son of Baltor, the father of Bestla. Bestla is the mother of Odin, Vili and Ve. I had a drink of the goodly mead that was drawn from Odin. Before I go on with the poem, I will tell you what Odin is. So he drew this drink, this mead, from Odin, and Odin is a kettle. And this kettle there's 2 dwarfs. These 2 dwarfs are called Fiala and Gala. Fiala means deceiver or illusionary giant, and Gala means chanter. So again you have the sound, this music, the singing again. And these 2 dwarfs, they killed Kvasir, and Kvasir was the wisest among the Vanir. There are 2 races of gods. You have the Aesir and you have the Vanir. And the Vanir gods, they were very closely tied to nature and magic. So these dwarfs killed the wisest of the Vanir to obtain his knowledge and wisdom. And the way they obtained his knowledge and wisdom was by drawing his blood into this kettle, into Odin. And in that kettle, they mixed his blood with honey. And by that, they produced the skaldic mead. Anybody who would drink this mead would get inspired by poetry and music, meaning they would obtain knowledge and wisdom. So you have this connection of music and poetry with knowledge and wisdom. So basically music, so all knowledge and all wisdom lies in the music and in the poetry. And another very interesting little side information for all you seekers out there who want to look further. There's also a order of the Illuminati that they call themselves the Order of Odin. And when you think about all the spirit cooking and this blood and all these rituals that are going on, this is where this comes from. And if you want to Google it, I tell you how you spell Odin. So, and when you Google it and you put it in, I think the first page, this Order of the Illuminati would come up. It's spelled Othroerir. I will go on with the poem now. Then I began to grow, and waxed well in wisdom. Each word led me to another, each deed to another deed. You will find runes, meaningful staves. Okay, before I go on, there's other translations that would say instead of staves, they would use the word signs, which is not wrong because runes are signs, are symbols. But when you read the word sign, you would never know that it goes back to the staves, to the wooden twigs, to the wood, to the beech tree. So the word sign would kind of hide the origin of the matter. So you will find runes, meaningful staves, very powerful staves, very strong staves. That Fimbulthul died, that the Ginregin shaped, that the god Hot carved. Before I go on, I will tell you real quick what these three names mean. So Fimbulthul died, the staves. Thule is singer. Again, you have the music, you have the singer, the chanter. And Fimbul means great. So Fimbulthul is the great singer. And he would color those runes with live blood. So then you have the one who shaped them, the Ginregin. The Gin means sacred, and Regin, you have the word reign, rule, the ruler, so the sacred ruler. So the Ginregin were the sacred rulers that existed before the gods. So they would shape these runes. And the god Hot carved them. And Hot is just another name for Odin. Odin had many, many names, and Hot was one of them. And Hot means sage, the wise man. Odin for the gods. Odin meaning spirit, breath, rage, frenzy. Dine for the elves. So now they're calling all these head chiefs of the different people. So the head chief of the elves is Dine, and Dine means the one that died. Dvalin for the dwarves, and Dvalin means the delayed one. And then you have Alsvit for the giants. Alsvit means all strong. I carved some myself. The last stanza. Know how to carve them, know how to read them, know how to dye them, know how to wield them, know how to ask them, know how to offer them, know how to send them, know how to sacrifice them. So we're going to look a little bit closer into the first two stanzas and see what that means. When Odin talks about hanging on the tree for 9 dark nights with no drink and no food, where he talks about he's sacrificing himself to himself, and when he looks down and he draws up the runes, wailing, screaming, wailing, he takes up the runes and he falls off the tree. What does this mean? those 9 dark, long nights are the 9 months in the womb. So Odin, a spirit, is coming from the heavens, from the cosmos. He's coming, he's sacrificing himself for himself. He ties himself to this tree, so he gets bound to earth, from the cosmos. He gets bound to earth. And he hangs there for 9 long nights. And so when a baby gets born, so Odin is coming into shape, he's coming into shape to become a child of earth. And when he falls off the tree, he wails. So when the baby gets born, it screams. And that's when he starts, when he starts his human journey. He picks up the runes. He picks up the magic symbols, which are also used to communicate, because that's what it means to be a human. It means to have language, to have words, to speak, to communicate with words and language. And so that's what that means. Spirit coming into shape, becoming matter, sacrificing himself because he's binding himself to earth, and he's going on the human journey. And for that journey he needs the runes. That's pretty interesting. So Odin becomes a wandering learner, and that's also one of his many names, wandering learner. And there's also something else hidden in this that you know about. I'm sure that you have heard about the saying, what is inside must be turned outward. And what is up must come down. And this is also in here because the god Tyr stabs him with a spear in his loins, and the wound, it bleeds. So this bleeding is, the inside coming out, and this hanging on the tree and falling off the tree is, what's up is coming down. So that's in there also. That's the origin of this saying. So and this coming into shape, coming onto earth is a great sacrifice, because to be born onto earth, first he has to die. So he has to die to be born, to become human. These are the runes, and I will read one more poem to you, and I will tell you how the runes found me, because obviously, I wasn't born, with the runes in my head. Something, must have happened, and I will tell you. one day I was walking down the street, and this bookstore caught my eye on the other side of the street, and it said they had that, bookstore, blah, 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 with antiquariat. I don't know the term in English, but an antiquariat is a bookstore who has old used books. So this kind of caught my eye, and I thought, I want to go in there. And I went into the store, and they had this corner with their old books. So I looked around, and then down on the floor, somewhere, there was this basket, and in this basket, it was all these books were just kind of thrown into there, and this kind of interested me, and I looked into this basket on the floor, and this is what I found. This is what I saw. I saw, well, actually, so there was this book with this little sack like this, and there was these rubber bands tied around. So I picked this up, and I untied it, and this little sack. So there was all these knots in here, so I couldn't open the sack, and the sack didn't interest me at all at the time. I didn't really care about the sack. I thought, okay, the sack is part of the book, okay, whatever. But I looked into this book, and the first thing I saw is this. See this? So this is Odin hanging on the tree, and next to it you have, can you see it? Yeah. You have 3 stanzas from the stanzas I just read to you. It starts, I know that I hung on the tree, and so on. So I saw this, and when I saw this, that was a few years ago. I had not at all. So I didn't know anything about Norse mythology. I didn't know anything about runes. I had no idea. So I have looked into Greek mythology. I have looked into Oriental mythology, but I have never ever looked into Norse mythology. So I had no idea at all what this was. So I just saw this, and I don't know why, but I wanted to buy this book. So I went up to the person in the store and asked, how much is this book? And he said 20 euros. And I was like, what? 20 euros for this little old book? Look at it. It's small, and it's not very thick, and I thought, I would never spend 20 euros on a book, actually. But for some reason I bought it. So I spent all this money on something I had no idea what it was. And then on the way home in the bus, I opened this little sack, and I got even more excited because I found out that this sack was full of these little stones with these symbols on it. I was like, wow, I got a sack of stones, because I love stones. And so I was quite happy. And then I got home, and that's when it started. That's when I started to look into Norse mythology and the runes. And so ever since then, those kind of accompanying me? Yes, companions. They're my companions. So yeah. So this is how the runes found me. And of course, I started, I wanted to know all about the runes, and I got all these books, and I have these books. I have 5 different books just about runes. They're they talk about nothing but runes. And there are 5 different books by 5 different authors who lived at different times, in different places. They came from different backgrounds. So I read all these different interpretations and ideas of the runes, and I realized, I mean, they're all different. So I was like, okay. So so any one of you, if you want to learn something about a certain matter, read as many books as you can from as many different people as you can, because I mean, every time you read a book about something by some person who writes about it, you will always also learn about this person's perception of the matter and this person's opinion of the matter. So to learn about the matter, you have to kind of look into different sources, so that then you can make up your own mind and kind of see, what does this matter tell you, yeah. So for anybody who's ever searching for something, that's my advice. Yeah, use lots of different sources, and then find out what you think about it, and make up your own mind about it. So the runes. I will read to you a poem now that I wrote, but not really, because the runes wrote it to me, and this is how this happened. A very, very, very special friend of mine. He's so special that so I made these cards. I made these myself. These are, and I used the 18 symbol food torque. Okay, I told you there are 3 different kinds, and the most common is the 24 or 25 symbol food torque, but I use the 18 symbol food torque because that's the one I feel closest to. And for me, this is the food torque closest to Odin. And yeah, so that's the one I use anyway. And so I also made a set of cards for this person, and I sent them to him. And then I asked him one day to draw 3 cards. And he drew 3 cards without looking, blind. He drew 3 cards blind. And these are the cards he drew. He drew the os or the us symbol. I think we're mirrored, so you have to think it the other way around. So this is os or us. Then he drew the G symbol, the G rune, and the man rune. Yes. Well, I'm thinking about explaining the meaning of these runes. I will just try to make it short. The Os rune is the 4th rune of the food torque. The food torque, so f, u, t, o, os, 4, number 4. And in that rune you have, okay, now I have to start from the beginning because otherwise it's makes no sense. The first rune, F, Futork, F, Feo, fire. The first rune is fire. And Ymir, the frost giant, sound from whom the world was created. How did Ymir come about? Ymir was created when, so before there was anything, so there was nothing, but there was, in the north, there was cold, icy mist, and in the south, there was fire. And when the fire and the cold, icy, frosty mist, when they met, they became matter, they became ice. And that's what Ymir was. He was like ice giant, frost giant. So ice and fire meeting, and they formed Ymir. So fire is what started everything, and at Ragnarök, the twilight of the gods, it's also the fire that destroys everything again. So everything starts and ends with the fire, and the Futork starts with the fire, with the Feo, with the F rune. That's the F. The second rune is Urt, origin and fate. So that's where it all starts, right? It all starts at the origin. And the origin is also the fate, because you come from the origin and you go back to origin. Then you have, it's actually TH, the thorn rune. And the thorn, in the thorn, okay. When you think about a thorn, and what a thorn means and what a thorn can do, then that's basically the thorn rune. So that's the meaning of the thorn rune. And when you think of Odin being wounded by the spear and bleeding, so that's the same as a thorn, you know, when a thorn, and you get stinged, is that the word? Stung by a thorn, you bleed. So yeah, the sacrifice that you have to make to become a child of earth. Then you have the Os rune. This is this rune, the first rune he picked, Os, us, and in that you have word and language. Those are the means that the humans communicate. And language and thought, you know, they're closely tied. And that's what makes us human, our language and our thoughts. And yeah, so us, os. Then he picked the G rune. That's the last of the 18 symbol Futork, G. In that G you have G, Gi, Gif, Gibor, German Geben, to give, gift, God's gift. So in the end, you will receive God's gift. Rune number 15 of the 18 symbol Futork is the Man rune. Man. The Man rune is closely tied with Heimdall. Heimdall is the son of 9 mothers, and Heimdall means great world. And he's kind of also like the keeper of the children of the world and the keeper of the world. So Asgeman are the runes he picked. And what did I do then? So, took these cards and I looked at these cards and nothing happened. I mean, it was my intention to write something, to write a poem for him and about him with the help of these runes, but I would just sit there like for an hour in front of my laptop, you know, I wanted to write, and I waited for the runes to inspire me, but nothing happened for like an hour. So if you had watched me, you would think, you know, what's this insane person just sitting there doing nothing? So I just waited, and then all of a sudden, I don't know, it just came to me, and I just started writing this poem, which I'm going to read to you now. And as I was writing this poem, I didn't know what I was writing, and the next day I read it, and I was like, wow, that's good, you know, that's a good poem. So I was, you know, happy with myself, and but I didn't know what it meant. I had no idea. But then with time, you know, it would reveal itself to me. It's very interesting. And I will read this poem to you now. I think I have to roll another cigarette. You don't know this, but I'm going to tell you. And this is the first time this happened. Usually, you know, I sit here, I push the button, and I start, and then I upload it, and that's it. Well, this time, this is my third take on this video. And the first, so, okay, first time I did this, tonight, same night. So I did this whole video, and then I was done, and then I realized that I forgot to plug in the microphone. I was like, oh no, okay. And first I thought, oh, I don't care. People can put their headphones on or turn up the volume. I don't want to do it again. But then I thought, no, that's not good. And I thought, okay, I'll do it again. So I plugged in the microphone, got another drink, and started again. And I was halfway through, and I wanted to look at the time, because I'm always trying to keep these videos shorter, but for some reason they always end up being over an hour, so I don't know. So I wanted to look at the time to see if maybe this time, you know, I can make it a little bit shorter, and and I realized I didn't even turn on record, so it wasn't recording this whole time. So yeah, and I thought, okay, this is kind of strange. What are the runes trying to tell me? I don't know, but yeah. If they try to tell me not to do this video, I don't think so they would. But if they did, I didn't listen. so this is the third take now. So just so you know. So yeah, I've already drank a little bit more, and I ran out of pre-rolled cigarettes. So there you go. Okay. So on to Asgeman. Who is Asgeman? So the As rune, the wandering learner coming onto earth, becoming human, learning about things, using language and words, As in Asgeman. Here it starts. Engaged in all the world's workings, learning life's lessons, busy to succeed, enjoying company, joking and talking, good times, but always doubting. In his heart he knows there's more. With his mind he tries to comprehend all of life's meanings. All day he thinks about the answers. Forward he thrives to know. Forward he thrives to grow. So this is the beginning of Asgeman. In the well of memory lies the mead of poetry, the keeper of origin and the holder of all knowledge. Asgeman has come to see a thought cannot hold insight. The answers must be remembered, and the heart must do the talking. When the mind is silenced, the soul can be heard, and true wisdom can be spoken. The winds carry the song of memory through the ages. Long and rough is their journey. Wait and listen, knowing that all will be fulfilled. Talking about the Ge now, the gift of God. Await the thorn of the rime-cold giant and the glorious splendor of the golden wheel. The golden wheel is the sun, and the sun was made from sparks and embers of the world of fire. Knowing that it is all in you, Asgeman, prepare for the sacrifice to enter the realms of the High One. Heavy are the teachings of the heart, and difficult to fly with them. The spirited man will endure. Nothing can be hidden. Nothing can be held back. Nothing can be saved. Only the boldest fighters will sit with the drink by the gods. He who gives all will receive all. And once Asgeman has received the godly gift, the true insight, the knowledge, the wisdom, he will become Asgeman, and the man he becomes, and then to the crown of Yggdrasil ascends the mind of Asgeman, the fearless warrior of the bards, and his spirit becomes free. A bard is a poet or a singer. And I will close this video by just telling you, because the poem mentions the well of memory. In the well of memory lies the mead of poetry, the keeper of origin, and the holder of all knowledge. So we already talked about the meaning of poetry and music in reference to knowledge and wisdom. That knowledge and wisdom lies in music and poetry. And what is this well of memory? The world tree Yggdrasil has 3 roots, and one of these 3 roots is situated in the middle of where Ginnungagap used to be. Ginnungagap. That was the place of nothingness, where there was nothing but the cold, icy mist. The cold, icy mist, with the fire, created Ymir. So, Ginnungagap, the nothingness, with the cold, icy mist amongst the frosty winds. And in Ginnungagap, that's also the place where, when those streams of fire and ice, when those streams first met, they created Ymir. Ymir, sound. And from Ymir, the world was created. So fire and ice come together, create Ymir. And Ymir then became the source of all matter in the early universe. So this is the place then that would be called Niflhel, or Niflheim, world of the icy mist, which is also, in my opinion, the same place as Hel. And this is where this one root lies, of the 3 roots of Yggdrasil, and this is where this one well is. There's 3 wells, and this one well is by this root, and this is called Mimir's well. Mimir is a giant, and his name, Mimir, means memory, and he is the keeper of this well. And everybody who drinks from Mimir's well will obtain great knowledge, because in Mimir's well there is stored all the stories of the world, all the experiences of the world, everything, every story ever told and experienced is stored in this well. So when you drink from this well, you will know everything. Back to the source, you will know even the original story. So this is Mimir's well. Yeah. Okay. On that note, I will finish this video. And I hope you enjoyed it. And thank you for watching. See you next time.